No. Yes. Hi everyone, Anthony B. Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new YEULE album, Glitch Princess. This is the newest full-length LP from songwriter, producer, and singer Nat Shamil, aka YEULE. Out now on BAYONET Records, this is their second album to date, which builds on the airy ambient pop textures of 2019's Serotonin 2, and in addition to that offers a glitchy and futuristic aesthetic that also works as an exercise in world building. I don't see Glitch Princess merely as an assembly of songs or tracks, but an attempt at crafting a persona and a world for it to exist in. And I find this record doesn't just embody its influences creatively, in part it feels like the next logical step past them. This is really a record for a post-pandemic, post-information age, post-bedroom pop, post-gender, post-hyperpop, post-PC music, post-FKA Twigs, post-Sophie world. The whole thing sounds like sad, longing robot feelings that AI will no doubt be fantasizing about once it gains the ability to have dreams. And that point's pushed to where sometimes the record I think is saying more narratively than it is musically, like on the intro track, My Name is Nat Shamil, which is this slow, glitchy, spoken word piece where Nat states some personal characteristics and preferences, name, age, loves their cat, drugs, dressing up, sex. Essentially the audiobook version of a surreal cyberpunk dating profile. The pacing is a little tedious, yes, but the awkward speech patterns, eerie keys, and glitchy vocal effects do bring a point home. Then there's also Flowers Are Dead, which is another moment where I think the concept trumps the music a little bit. The wailing tones and static lace drones lay down a desolate digital landscape. The unsettling ambience of it is kind of alluring, though I don't really get too much out of Nat's breathy vocal leads and the overall lack of development of the song. However, there are plenty of other tracks on this project that either stun with their outright beauty or inspire wonder with their interesting progressions and genre combinations. There's Electric, which Danny L. Harl's fingerprints are all over. Danny is a pretty key co-producer on many tracks here. The heavy beats, the pristine atmosphere, the beautiful vocal work are all impressive on this one. The bursts of synths and lead melodies on the second half of the track sound like listening to the Big Bang. Then there's Eyes, which new age, more like neo age. We have more intimate vocals on this one, crisp reverbs, and the kind of sad, simple cinematic piano work you might catch in a Hans Zimmer piece. Plus, I love the winding road this track takes into a heavy, crushing, post-industrial, distorted outro. Furthermore, Fragments' harsh and crushing walls of synthetic noise and tones are incredible. Perfect Blue features an oddly satisfying and beautiful attempt at a duet with two vocals that both feature these somewhat awkward and very robotic characteristics. And Don't Be So Hard on Your Beauty makes a refreshing change of pace with an acoustic cut, which, given all of the unlikely influences on the record so far, it's surprising how well this one goes over. So there are a lot of textured and abstract highlights on this record that I love, but weirdly the songs that I ended up wanting more from were the ones that felt louder and more straightforward. Too Dead Inside, for example, is a breathy pop cut with some of the darkest, starkest, and most groovy production on the entire record. But the beat's seriously lacking something on the color side, the texture side. I'm not exactly sold on this awkward chorus either. It's decent, but still sounds like something that could have been off the last Grimes LP. I Love You seems inspired, at least in part, by the very soft intimacy of recent hits from Pink Panther S, but something about the magic of that feels lost in translation as Nat moves the song from potentially a ballad to this semi-spoken word piece with soaring post-rock guitars and a lot of glitchy vocal chatter. So these many songs make up pretty much the core record experience, but from here, I'd like to transition into the final moments of the album, namely the closer, which, if you can believe it or not, is an almost 5-hour-long ambient piece built on these vocal synth patches that just kind of work through a very long series of melodic resolutions, ringing out into oblivion. There is not a strong progression to it, but I guess that's not really the point. Mostly seems like something to soak in while the androids listening to this project are downloading a firmware update. Now, part of me in concept admires the fuck out of this song, especially as a closer, but is it a track that, like, I enjoy as I listen to the record, like, is my mouth watering waiting for this, several hour ambient experience to queue up? No, not really. But I will say this, pretty much every time I've listened to this record so far, I did find myself drifting off mentally a little bit toward the very end during the explosive finish of Mandy, and ended up transitioning into this ambient outro without fully being conscious of it. Then I'm just pretty much feeling it without really thinking about what I'm listening to, and I may get like 10 or 20 at one point, almost like 30 minutes into it, and then start to think, like when's the next track starting on this thing? I mean, this is feeling pretty good right now, but which I think it's a testament to this album's ability to genuinely straddle the border between ambient music and pop music for me to get like that deep into such an outro without even really feeling like the progression or the vibe of the record has been thrown off in a way. So yeah, on this project there are some tracks that I'm not crazy about, but it is still a very unique, incredibly interesting LP with lots of highlights and essentially sounds like the innermost thoughts creeping through the minds of an increasingly isolated generation of kids raised entirely on the internet. Feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, YEULE, forever.